Hi, Libra Sun and Rising. Welcome to your June 2021 Astro Update. It's Raina here. And June is a time when, as the month begins, there is always going to be the sun in a fellow air sign. And that is such a nice feeling because you have the transing sun trining your own. And it's coming from behind, so it's the ninth house of the higher mind. So issues surrounding university level teaching and learning, which both can apply to a Libra person being an air sign, that you're very attuned to abstract thought, which is represented by the ninth house, the law. So specifically, Libras tend to like the law, which I always wondered because, well, no, I take it back because I had a little bit of a back and forth with someone about which house represents the law. So from what I understand and what I resonate with, the ninth house is the law as on the book. So when you are studying the law, you're studying, actual laws and the whole procedure of laws. The seventh house are court cases and legal actions. And you rule the seventh house, so that makes sense, your connection to the law, and obviously the scales of justice and the balance between, somebody's actions and somebody's, if you want to call it punishment or consequences. And the ninth house is ruled by Sag. So, that's my sun sign. And I wonder, do Sagittarians become lawyers in large numbers? Maybe. John F. Kennedy Jr., John F. K's son, he was a Sag, I believe. And he did, although I don't think, did he pass I think he passed eventually. He was trying to become a lawyer. So, I mean, I'm trying to think about these people. That's the only one I can think of offhand. But anyway, so the point being that these can be areas that you're really involved with for one reason or the other. Maybe you're trying to become this, trying to become a professor, trying to become a college student or re-enter. Maybe you're in your 30s and you've always wanted to get a degree. Or just the ninth house is the God house. So anything of a religious nature, and separated from the eighth house or comparing it to the eighth house, I would say, the ninth house is connected to the different organized religions in particular, and they have their own dogmas that are like their rules, their laws, the spiritual laws, if you will, rules that govern how they see the world, and the ninth house is the house of philosophy. So even if you say you're an atheist, you still have your own belief system. Your belief system is, I don't believe in, a higher being, but that's still a belief system. So it's not like just completely not believing in anything. And so it can be long distance travel, and that can certainly expand the mind, expand yourself geographically, and take in new cultures, learn new languages. So all these things can be coming in, and with that solar eclipse in Gemini on the 10th, that can indicate that you're going to be given these possibilities, these opportunities to be able to make this happen. So this is a very expansive time overall. Because there's a Mercury retrograde occurring in this ninth house, there is some mulling over of something. There is something, it could be a snafu if it involves some kind of a contract or whatever you want to call it, because let's say you're getting ready to take a trip and your passport is not up to date or something, that could delay your trip, but that doesn't mean you're not going to take it. Definitely with a solar eclipse in this house, and the North Node is still there, and it is tied to the eclipses, so it's not a coincidence that's in the same sign and in the same house, but that can indicate that you are experiencing opportunities, or you will experience them to expand yourself in some way. Now, so Venus until the 2nd is in this house. So coming over from May, if you are already involved with somebody, I guess, that is from another country, maybe this is something even online where you're going to travel to meet somebody that you've, met online and, develop some kind of romantic relationship. And this is going to lead to you traveling and visiting them at some point, Libra. But then on the 2nd, your ruler Venus goes into Cancer. And this is going to be one of those angular houses because it's forming a square with you. So this is the 10th house of career. This is a very important area of life. Venus in the 10th confers popularity. It gives you a leg up if you're looking for work or you're looking for a promotion or a raise, because Venus can be money. It can certainly give you all of those possibilities because you come across as very charming to people in positions of authority, which is also the 10th house, authority figures. And if they happen to sign your paycheck, that can be very lucrative for you or if they have the possibility to sign your paycheck in the future. If you're looking for a new position, you're looking for a new a career path or what have you, I think that, but especially just in new opportunities within your current position, maybe, people can want to help you because they think that you are agreeable. And I think all Libras have that within themselves already, but you just kind of take it to the next level. By the way, speaking of agreeable, did you know that Cardi B is a Libra? The way she speaks, I think she's freaking hilarious. But I mean, she can be very crude, I mean, to say the least. I think she has Aries rising. Or is it the moon in Aries? I don't know if it's the moon or Aries rising. But she definitely has that fiery, and that can like overpower someone. That's your opposite sign. And maybe I'll do a video on her chart if I can find her time of birth. But there's always this wit with Libra people. And a sense of intelligence, whether the person is self-taught or if they have actually gone to an institution of higher learning. And actually, I think she did briefly go to community college or something like that. But, I don't like when people say, oh, she's not intelligent, she's stupid. Libra people will naturally be intelligent, whether they speak in a way that people, associate with intelligence. But I just thought of that when I was thinking of, you impressing people, because not all Libra people, I have to remind myself, exhibit those traits if their sun is in Libra. Now, the rising sign is a different story because that is kind of like the first impression that you make. So if you have Libra rising, that means you're ruled by Venus, and you will probably tend to have that, at least as a facade, that tendency to carry yourself in a very graceful manner. Okay, so what else? Because I kind of went backwards. So on the 11th, the day after the solar eclipse, Mars goes into Leo, another friendly angle like Gemini. This is a sextile. This is going to be your 11th house of friendships. This is an air house. It is Aquarius's house in the universal chart, and it is a social house. Mars here can make the person very active in their social life. But I wouldn't be surprised if for at least some of you, this is about career matters. Like you're trying to network so that you can really shore up your career contacts. And the other thing about this, as I stated before, is be careful when you have Mars in a house, transiting a house, that you don't get too aggressive. And Libra, it's an interesting thing. You know, I've known my fair share of Libras in my life. And I always say they're a little bit goofy. And I say that I say that about all air signs, actually. So maybe somebody might say, you have a prejudice against air signs. No, I actually admire air signs quite a bit. As a Sagittarian, as a fire sign, you know, I think that, we're supposed to get along. And I think that I probably get along better with air signs than I do with fire signs. Because the fire signs, they tend to be too much in the ego if they're not balanced. But what happens when air signs like Libra are not balanced, they can go off a little bit mentally, where they're where they get a little neurotic, a little goofy. And also with the social angle with you, Libra, because you tend to be very like a social butterfly as it is, if you encounter somebody who rubs you the wrong way, but I mean, especially if they, say something to you, for some reason I was flashing, maybe because I saw on my list here, Cancer, Venus into Cancer, but I was thinking of like, let's say you're a Libra with the moon in Cancer. I don't know if you could have Mars in Cancer. You might be able to have Mars in Cancer as a Libra. Yeah, I'm sure you could. Yeah, one of those two. That you might be, or even Cancer rising, you might be like very quick to take offense at even friends and read into things that are not there. Be careful about being touchy. Be careful about being prideful, because for all of us, when Mars is in Leo, we are looking out for number one. We're very aggressive in defending ourselves. And that can be like a great thing, and that can be very good for other people to let them know that they cannot push us around. We're not doing a service to others by allowing them to push us around. So I am all in favor of, anyone who is trying to assert themselves. That's sometimes you absolutely have to do that, but we're talking aggression here. So I don't think a lot of you, this is going to be a thing, but somebody could push your buttons, and you have to, you have this little bit of oomph from Mars, so just watch your P's and Q's. But you just might be driven to some kind of like a humanitarian project that is near and dear to you. The 11th house is humanitarian stuff, and you are natural for that as a Libra. You're one of those what we call do-gooders that want to change the world. And so this may be something that you fall into that allows you to do just that. On the 20th, the sun goes into Cancer. This is that solstice time. Summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. I love, the title of Shakespeare's play, Midsummer Night's Dream, because I think about midsummer. I think about this idea of the ripening of everything and how lush everything is. The longest day in the northern hemisphere, shortest day in the southern hemisphere can be very inspirational, because then you have the resurrection. In the northern hemisphere, then it's like all downhill from there. I'm actually thinking about that and going, dang, It always like incenses me. How dare God do that to us? Make June 20th the height of the sun. You know, I'm just like, I have no words for that. Okay, and Jupiter is going to go retrograde on the same day in Pisces, which is, for you, the sixth house of work. So this is that house. Okay, now that I know that you have Jupiter in the sixth, that could be what is going on, that your career is really on fire with Venus there, that it is benefiting you. But as Jupiter goes retrograde, you will be doing that kind of inner work, because I also think, Libra, that some of you who can feel like you're having a spiritual awakening, and I would say those people especially who are Libras, that are born around the year, I'm trying to think of, like, how old would you be if you were 42? Now, don't judge, you guys, that I'm slow on the uptake here. Uh, oh God, not 1983. I'm trying to think of 42. Dull. 1982? Is that about? No, that's 39, isn't it? Oh boy, I'm embarrassing myself. Okay, 1983. No, that's impossible. 1973? No, that would be 48. Okay, I'm very ashamed right now. I actually had to pause this and in my mind go, okay, we're in 2021. 40 years ago was 1981, then subtract 2. So like around 1978, 79, in that time range. Because when you're around 42, but I think it's going to last for several years, yeah, because Uranus has a 7-year cycle. This can be a time, but especially at the beginning of that cycle, I believe it's true, where your natal Uranus is opposing the transing Uranus. So if you have Uranus in Scorpio, in other words, you are somebody who may be going through a spiritual awakening, a Kundalini awakening, and it can be something. I don't believe that it has to be so dramatic as some of the well-publicized events. Simply that you could call it a spiritual upgrade, or you're just being turned on, seemingly randomly, but not really, to different things online that is informing your new belief system, your upgrade belief system, that kind of thing. So, for you, this might really be on point, because if you have Neptune in Pisces in your sixth house, that just enhances all of that, what is going on. So, just to kind of, remind you that even when Jupiter is retrograding in Pisces until late July, you still have Neptune also in that sixth house. So there's a lot of influence there. On the 22nd, Mercury turns direct. Oh, but what I wanted to say about the Jupiter retrograde is that can make you think about, what are your ethics involving work, because it gets a little bit hairy when we are offering our services for money, and especially if you're one of those people who wants to do like a healing arts career. There was like a 9-month period before I decided, from the time I came up with this idea before I actually put it into action, because I really was not sure if I felt comfortable with the idea of doing any kind of anything with a spiritual theme that I would receive money. I felt like that. I didn't know if it was right. I've kind of shifted my perspective over the years, but it's something that you may come across, and you can use these months if you are still in a preparation stage to kind of explore that. And that's a really part of the process. Better that you do that than you're one of these people that you just do everything without thinking first. So you just don't even care. I mean, what's up with that? I think it's wonderful to be very intentional about the things that we do. So on the 22nd, Mercury goes direct, and this is in that ninth house. So getting things sorted out. If you were planning on taking a trip and you didn't know where you wanted to go, being slightly indecisive as a Libra, you say, okay, I'm going to buy a ticket to this place. On the 24th, full moon at 3 degrees of Capricorn. Capricorn, another angular house. So in this case, we're talking about the 4th house of home and family, where you already have Pluto. And that can be very intense, to say the least. If your rising sign is let's say your rising sign is 4 degrees of Capricorn, then this is actually going to fall in your 3rd house, which is the house of the mind, but the more mundane. This is opposite to the 9th house. It's it's the opposite of the abstract mind. It's the more practical mind, but it's like your basic mental functioning. The full moon here can give you that kind of download that allows you to see how you are, how you view life as a whole. And I think that the solar eclipse, these go, even though they're not in opposite signs, I think that they go very well together. They're actually going to be in opposite houses for many people, because this is at a very early degree of Capricorn. For those that this is falling in the 4th house of home and family, your early degree Libra people, very early degree, this can be a letting go of childhood conditioning and baggage, emotional baggage. This can be, bringing something up very emotional about your mom. And, especially, I was going to say especially if you're a woman, but not necessarily. A man can realize what an influence his mother and, emotional impact she has had on him, be it for good or otherwise. So these things can certainly come into play, and that can be like a very enlightening experience in one way or the other. On the 20, but this could be like selling a house. This is a house of real estate too, so it's the ending, bringing some to culmination. On the 27th, Venus goes into Leo, and so here we have Venus in this 11th house. This could also have some kind of connection to falling in love with, wait a second. Okay. I want to, okay, yeah, I did say Venus in the 10th house. I was getting confused because I had briefly mentioned the 9th house. But, this can be falling in love with somebody from a different walk of life. This can be meeting somebody through your social network, a group that you belong to. What a wonderful way to meet somebody, sharing an interest. It's just a very a good transit for social interactions. Also for money itself, it is connected to money, and Venus is connected to money. I hope that you enjoyed this, Libra. If you would like to work with me, I'd love to read for you. I have different types of readings. You can find out more information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.